I still remember over a year ago, I created a video and I posted it on TikTok. And in the video, I told you guys that North Korea and China are benefiting from this war and they wouldn't want the war to end immediately. And some people were like, Timo, you are crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. What does China and North Korea stand to gain from this war? Well, Fox News just released a video explaining that both China and North Korea, they don't want the war to end. Exactly what I said over a year ago. Pure prophecy. You see, when it comes to geopolitics, nobody is going to tell you exactly what is happening. They kind of like act in corners. So you have to go in their minds and understand what exactly is happening. That is how geopolitical games are played. Before I speak about China and North Korea, let me first of all give you guys this update that is happening on the battlefield in Patrovsk. In Patrovsk, the current development from Patrovsk is Russian forces has captured Patrovsk completely. Now, Ukrainian troops are currently in a cauldron. And now the big question is, what is going to happen to these Ukrainian troops who are currently caught up in a cauldron? By the way, the meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, well, it didn't actually say that the war have to immediately end. They didn't actually come out to say anything explicitly about the war. So the war continues. So now, the real question is, what happens to these soldiers who are currently caught up in a cauldron in Patrovsk? You see, when it comes to cauldron or boiler is a situation whereby your forces are encircled. So, in the situation of Patrovsk, Russia has surrounded Ukrainian troops in Patrovsk. Now they have two options. It's either they lay down their arms or they annihilate them, or I don't want to add the other word because I don't want to use the keyword. Once I use the keyword, they will take down the video. So I'm not going to use that word. But Ukrainian troops obviously cannot retreat. So they are currently caught up in a cauldron. So that is the current development. So let's go back to what I was talking about. How North Korea and China stands to gain from the ongoing war in Ukraine. You see, when it comes to North Korea, the North Koreans are selling arms to the Russians, and their soldiers are currently fighting in Russia. Especially if you look at the whole KEX operation, it was fought by the North Koreans. The Russian government is paying North Korea over $12,000 per soldier every month, something like that. I stand to be corrected, but I think around $12,000 per every month to the North Korean government. So North Korean government is making a lot of money as far as this war is concerned, and it is also an opportunity for them to test most of their weapons. We see North Korea launching this today, the next day they are launching that, but in reality, these guys have never tested all these weapons in real combat. So they've taken advantage of this war and they are testing most of their weapons. I've said this before. It's rather unfortunate that they are testing these weapons on human beings. If you're watching the video, please consider liking the video. It's very, very important. Hit on the like button so that YouTube will introduce the video to a lot of people. It's very stressful to create some of these videos. So please help us, and also subscribe to the channel if you've not yet subscribed to the channel. What about China? China also benefits from this war. You see, the outcome of Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump meeting in Alaska, I think the Chinese are happy. They are very happy because the moment the war ends in Ukraine, America is going to focus their attention on China. They are going to Taiwan. And Donald Trump has said this countless number of times that it was a big mistake by the Biden administration to allow the Chinese and the Russians unite against America. It's a fact. You see, China and America should have been enemies. They shouldn't have been friends. But because of Joe Biden's mistake or carelessness, he has pushed the Russians into the arms of the Chinese. Russia is not a competitor to America economically. The Americans have a very big economy. bigger than the Russian economy. So Russia is not a pure competitor to American global hegemony economically. It is militarily. And the Russians are not interested in fighting outside their borders. So they are not worrying America in any way. The Americans are doing whatever they want to do. And the Russians, they don't care. Till Americans decided to make the Russians their enemy. That is when the Russians started going to Syria. That is when the Russians started coming to Africa. You see, so this is a big mistake on the part of the Americans. And Donald Trump is trying to reverse that. Donald Trump is trying to build a very good relationship with the Russians. So you see the game these guys are playing. Why I said Russia and the Chinese are real enemies is because the Chinese have a very large population. And they want some of the Russians' land. You know, they share border. Russia and China were fighting over these land issues. These guys, they had their own form of disagreements before Vladimir Putin came to office. So when Putin came, he decided to settle this issue. And they were not that cool. Because America decided to make Russia their enemy. Now, look at what is happening. The Chinese are also selling semiconductors to the Russians, not military hardware directly, but some of the parts they use to manufacture most of these weapons, it is the Chinese who are selling to the Russians. Because of all these sanctions on the Russian economy, Russia today is selling their oil at a very cheaper price to the Chinese. So indirectly, the Chinese are benefiting from this relationship. In addition, the Russians are creating a route in the Arctic, which connects Europe and Asia. And the Chinese, once again, are going to benefit from this because when you look at I've forgotten the name. Is it the Suez Canal? Yes, the Suez Canal. When you look at the Suez Canal, there are many places that is controlled by the Americans. And you see, in war, one of China's greatest threat is oil, is fuel. In times of war, you need fuel to fight. Your tanks use fuel, a lot of things use fuel, so you need fuel. It's very, very important. Even air defense systems that use generators, they need fuel to operate. And most of these places that China can ship their oil through or fuel through, it is controlled by the Americans. So if the Russians successfully create this path in the Arctic, it is going to give China some level of advantage, meaning they can now import in oil without going through the Suez Canal. So indirectly, the Chinese are going to benefit from this relationship. I said this, I said, look, the Chinese, the North Koreans, this war is benefiting them and they don't want to end. And I was 100% right. Today, Fox News is repeating exactly what I said over a year ago. Geopolitics, you have to be smart. By the way, thank you very much once again for watching Timo Media 360. Guys, please don't forget to hit on the like button and also subscribe to this particular channel. Once again, let me remind everybody that I decided to change the name from Timo Media, from African 360 to Timo Media to Timo 360, not Timo Media 360. There's Timo Media 360. Timo Media 360 is currently blocked by YouTube. I'm completely demonetized on that channel. So please help me build this particular channel. Of late, you see, I am giving you guys a video back to back. So please subscribe to this channel and you are not going to regret it. Shalom. See you guys in the next episode.